All right, Sean, thank you so much for coming on to the Can Monkey podcast show. It's been great to getting to know you better over the last couple of years from the first conference we were at in Columbus at the Thanks for Visiting. And then now even meeting your wife now at the last conference. It's awesome seeing a family and husband and wife duo in the industry. You obviously know a lot about the vacation rental industry. You dedicate your time on a couple of boards. You're doing what you can to get the concept, the name out there of your business and how you're able to help our hosts and owners and guests, have a better stay. And so it's an honor to have you on here and talk about your services because I know a couple of the clients that are actually using you love your service. So it's good for me when I already know that people who I trust and appreciate their feedback give me feedback on people that, especially
Yeah.
my friends, but their businesses as well. So Sean, without further ado, please introduce yourself, what your company is, and what you do for the industry.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Man, it's always a joy to hang out with you and get to see you. It's a tough job what we do out there in the field. What the hosts are up against, what our cleaners are up against, our contractors. There's just so many moving parts in this. And I've got well over 20 years of experience with chemical manufacturing, with training and education. I started my career in the cleaning business with Ecolab, which is a global company, and I did all the education and training for fast food restaurants. They did like the private label chemicals for McDonald's and Burger King and Tricon and all those guys. So I would help educate and train them. And then I evolved my career into the family business down here in Alabama, Kemper Industries, and that we manufacture the cleaning chemicals. So I kept that thing going on there. And I picked up some distributors that we sell to, bulks, pallets, gallons, drums, all kinds of stuff that for the cleaning business. And then I got into the vacation rental space that way. So that was almost 15 years ago. And then most recently, I formed ETI Solutions in about 2017, and it's been a wild ride there because we've gone through COVID and some other struggles. But ETI is educate, train, and innovate, and that's what I do for our industry. I help elevate our industry. I bring the best cleaning chemicals, I bring the best tools, and the drop and go cleaning products is a line I designed for the vacation short-term rental industry. And then, ETI is the parent company, and that's where I do my education and consulting. So I just try to help lift up the industry, make sure everybody knows what they're doing. Just because they go to Home Depot, Costco, or wherever and buy a mop and a bucket, they're not cleaners. They need to understand chemistry, pHs, what to clean with and not damage surfaces. So there's a lot of education involved there.
And you're right, you're not you think that maybe you get a mop and broom and you're ready to go, but not necessarily. And I know from being at the Columbus conference with you, you're not just selling the products or like the actual chemicals. You're actually selling like the mops and everything as well. Because I remember you had the mop out there. You're showing everyone how your solutions go into this. How did you get to the point of in 2017 when you went into the vacation rental industry? Like, what were you seeing that there was lack of? Like, what were you seeing that like was there just no structure or streamline, or people were just getting things off a la carte, and you're like, wow, I could really put this all together? Is that
Yeah.
kind of the thought process?
Yeah, I mean, again, once coming from the corporate structure of, the big chains, they had the standardization, they had the system and procedures in place. So that was kind of easy. But when I got into the vacation rental space, I'm like, wow, this is the Wild West. There's no corporate trainers going around all over the country. These folks are entrepreneurs, these folks are individual companies that are getting started. They don't understand a lot of the chemistry. They don't know to use an acid on mineral scale buildup on a shower glass door. They might be trying to clean it with a degreaser and it's not working. So I just saw that and I'm like, wow, I need to step back and really build a training program and help lift up the industry and teach them what they need to do. So strongly, I'm based out of South Alabama. So down here in the Gulf Coast over the years, we've got so strong. But now, with folks like you that I've networked with and met in various conferences, we're reaching out to the West Coast. I'm now part of the VR Nation Education Advisory Board. So we're really help reaching out across the country to bring a standardization and help, guide them into the cleaning, maintenance, all kinds of various operations in the back of the house.
Who's your ideal client? 'Cause like what you just said right there sounds like this would be perfect for like all franchises. Like anyone that's getting into a franchise, getting in a new territory, they should have some kind of structure, streamlined systems and processes of the cleaning. But this also would be great for someone that has one property, two properties just getting started, and they have no idea what to get into. So is your client both those, the small individual person getting their first property, but also the franchise property management company that has 100 plus properties?
Exactly. I mean, we've got the drop and go chemical system that we designed is ideal for somebody just starting out there because it's color coordinated. It tells you exactly what the product does. It's only three products: a bathroom glass and a degreaser. So we're keeping it simple. You don't need to have all these elaborate things. I'll do some consulting with some of the vacation rental companies and got 20 or 30 products. I'm like, wow, let's, help condense that inventory and save them money. So, we'll make the operation simpler through that. But yeah, anywhere from a one to 1,000. I work with Costago with some of their franchisees throughout the country and some other groups down here along the Gulf Coast. So we could pretty much cater to your system. If you do choose to bring me in to help, consult your team and educate and train them on the art of clean, then we will, dive deeper into it and build a program for your company because everybody's different out there.
And are you, and when we talk about team, are you talking about like the internal operations team? Or are you talking about like the actual cleaning team that is going to the property and because you're basically replacing the chemicals that they're buying, correct? Is that do typically property management companies supply this to the cleaners or the cleaners bring their own?
That's a good point. Now, if they're contract cleaners, by law, they can't tell them what to use. So, but what they do in that scenario is they bring me in to do the education piece. And if they do want to buy something from us, good. If not, at least I've helped out their customers, their market, their company in educating, what properly, what do you use when you clean, glass stains, or what do you use if you got a carpet stain, or, the old infamous Blackfoot that we see in our industry where people walk barefoot or with socks on and their feet get all black. It's chemistry, it's understanding procedures. So we do that. But if you do have an in-house team, we'll come in there and train you and educate your team to make you stronger, more confident. They'll get the work done faster. You'll increase those 5-star reviews that you need. And it's just such a good synergy between us in working with in-house or contract.
And I bet from your perspective, if someone's bringing you in to help with, organizing this in their operations, you could probably save them a lot of money as well because now you kind of know exactly what you would need per property, how many beds does it have, what's the square footage. You probably have that all that down to a science as well, correct? So is that what you're kind of basing the drop and go or off these packages? Are you asking how big's your property, how many bedrooms? Are you asking questions like that to kind of gauge it, or are you just kind of saying, I this is what you're going to need?
Yeah, no, we've got spreadsheets that help you build your properties. You can put it in there how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what you're doing in-house, so we can help you really break it down to like, oh, it takes $6 to clean this house. So we can break it down into that for you. But then, yeah, the drop and go is a good starter program. But if you're a big property, 1,000 units, drop and go might not be the right fit for you. So we have bulk chemicals and dispensing systems, and we take it to the next level. So like I said previously, we kind of cater to what your cleaning program is and how we can benefit you, make you more efficient, and understand going from day to day what you need to do.
What's the biggest like misconception that people have before when they were talking to you before, but then when they join and actually start using your services, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be a messy, conversion, or I thought this would be way more expensive." Like, what's something that you hear that they were shocked after they actually joined? They're like, "Wow, I should have done this sooner." Is there like a misconception of why they don't pull the trigger sooner than later, or maybe they're stuck in their own ways and thinking that their 409 is the best, or what is some of the things that you see when they do switch over? They're like, "Oh my gosh, thanks, Sean."
Good. It's understanding, it's education. So yeah, you've cleaned all your life, maybe. Now you got your house, you got your glass cleaner, these and that, these different things. But those products typically that you buy from the retail store or Target, Walmart, or whatever it might be, those are going to be watered down because they've got to be safer for the masses. So pets, kids, if they touch something, it could be very, very harmful. So those products can't handle when you get into the vacation rental space and you got 10, 15, 20 people, in a house. And so you're dealing with some serious soil loads that you've never seen before. And so that's why these commercial grade products that we design, I mean, there's janitorial service companies out there that are in your markets that have commercial grade products that can help you. But that's what we do in the space is we specialize in it. We understand what you're up against. We make these products that are commercial grade. But the nice thing that we do with the drop and go is that they are safer choice approved through the EPA, meaning the chemicals are better for the environment, they're better for us. We've got recyclable spray bottles, so you use that same spray bottle over and over again, which lessens our carbon footprint. So we're being a greener program, more sustainable. So we're just trying to continue to elevate and make our industry safer, better, cleaner as we continue to, evolve down the road.
What is one What is one solution or one chemical product that people are using right now that you hate to see it, that you're always glad that they're getting rid of, that is just bad for the industry or bad for humans that they just don't even know that they're using?
It's bleach. I mean, everybody uses bleach. I know it's cheap, but bleach damages carpet, damages different materials. Bleach is really, really harsh on us. It's got a pH of 13, and you can talk to some people in the industry, and they'll probably 9 times out of 10 they'll say bleach is one of the harshest chemicals they've used over and over again. When you're inside that tub and you're huffing that stuff day in and day out, that's not good for our lungs. So there's some fumes in there that you don't want to breathe. Same with those cheap degreasers you go buy from the store. I don't even know what's out there anymore. Grease Lightning, Purple Power. There's something new coming out all the time. But those have a lot of, if you look in the ingredients, it'll say butyl, some form of butyl in there that is not good for our lungs either. But if it's the one chemical I would like to see get rid of, it'd be bleach. Bleach is a sanitizer, great for restaurants. Soak your dishes in it at that right percentage, parts per million. But it doesn't need to be used everywhere.
So if someone's getting rid of bleach, what would you tell them to replace it with a product from your bunch?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good disinfectants out there. Peroxide technologies are great. We utilize a product called Sporgo. Excuse me. Sporgo is great. It has a peroxide technology, but it also has essential oils. But what peroxide does better than bleach is it actually gets into the root of the problem. So if you think about mold, it's a growing, organism. So it's a flower. You've got the piece that we always see in the shower, that would be the flower. And then you got a stem, and then you got a root that goes into that grout or whatever that surface might be. So bleach will bleach that surface so that flower disappears, but the root and the stem and root are still in there. But with a product like our Sporgo, it goes into that root, completely eradicates that problem, pulls it out and gets rid of it because you'll see it foaming on the mold and mildew and things like that. We call it FODM in the cleaning business, foam on the mold. But again, you use that type of product. It's neutral, it's safe, it's not going to bleach out carpet, it's not bad for us, it's good for the environment, it's safer, just all around a better product.
I love that. What's something that you are bringing to the VR Nation and educating individuals? What's like, one tip or two tips that you could bring to the audience right now that someone would get if they, were going to join the VR Nation and listen to you? Like, what's a tidbit that you could provide to the industry just to kind of be a little bit more keen on that they're probably not doing that you see that often that, this is like being overlooked, but they shouldn't be overlooking.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I've got a partner, buddy, Brittany Blackman, and we started doing some training sessions last year down here along the Gulf Coast. And it was housekeeping sessions. I would do my art of clean, which is basically what I would bring to the VR Nation. And it's like understanding your pH. Why do you use an acid? Why do you use an alkaline? Why do you use, a neutral cleaner? What are all these chemistry, have to do with our cleaning? And if you understand that chemistry, you'll know what to grab to go clean quicker, which will save you time. It'll save you money. It'll save you, elbow grease. So all these things, it really stems down to understanding your chemistry. And that's what I've been bringing to the industry so they know what they're using and why they're using it and what to grab when they need to get a job done. So more than anything, it's just educating on the whole chemistry background.
I mean, it's so important because I feel like people don't even use the word chemistry since like high school. And the fact that you're like kind of showing that, this is actually real life, examples of how to be using it and that we should be using it. And I'm almost positive that people are not thinking about the chemistry in their cleaning at all. But at the same time, we have guests, giving these hosts and owners trust that their property is going to be clean and ready for them to stay at and going to be in a healthy environment. So it's really crazy to think that I'm sure that they're not doing it on purpose. They just don't even realize that there's another solution and there's another way of keeping their property, even more safe. Just like they would if they had a pool in the backyard, they want to keep their property safe and their guests safe. This is just another reason I think people just need to kind of see it that way. And not that they're harming people intentionally, but if there is another solution out there that you can use for products to, better your the property, why not? And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've heard from people when they start, talking with you or hearing from you is that this is not even a thought that goes into the process of I want to start an Airbnb or a vacation rental property and I got to get guests and I got to keep it busy and keep it clean. You don't think of this. You kind of just put that on to the cleaner and hope they do it. So one thing that I'm getting from this is that if you're a property host or owner, you should really be talking to your cleaner and seeing what kind of products they use because maybe you don't even know what they're using in your property. Is that something that you kind of kind of have your clients figure out first because to see what they're using?
Yeah, and that's tough because we've done that over the years as we continue to evolve. The property managers, the front of the house, the back of the house, they haven't always synced the best, and it's like, oh, that's their problem. But as I've grown and been at these conferences, I'm stressing to these owners and these, director of ops, where they're involved, but vice presidents maybe, everybody all the way to the top need to understand a little bit of chemistry. So when they go in the property, they could be dangerous, or hey, well, they can know to call Sean at ETI Solutions and say, hey, I got this situation going in one of my properties. And we do that all the time. We help with new floor material. I mean, we can do anything from polishing marble and granite all the way down to just cleaning a glass cooktop stove. So I love to just educate everybody. So at least you have a little bit of knowledge. And then the color coordination and the chemicals, if inspector, somebody walks in and they see orange product in the bathroom cleaner, which our bathroom cleaner is purple, then they can know instantly wrong product, wrong bottle, which could be a fine. So we just inspect, what you need and understanding a little bit of the chemistry. So why the floors have the Blackfoot buildup, what's the buildup on a glass stove, or what's the buildup in the showers. There's just so many different aspects with a little bit of knowledge could help benefit the entire organization.
Would love to see a video of you just going to not a random Airbnb, but just an Airbnb that you're not associated with, and kind of just do a quality check on it, and just kind of see what you find, because I'm sure you going to a property is gonna be a lot different than me going into a property. It'd be like Justin Ford going to a property looking at safety things. I'm not looking at the same things he is. You'd be going into it looking at things differently than I would. You'd be looking for that mold in the bathroom or whatever it may be, because you're looking for those specific things. I think that'd be really cool, like tidbit, just like a random Airbnb you just kind of went to and just kind of showed, because I'm sure like not all are the same, but for the most part, if you're not going in there with a system and process of your chemistry, your pH levels, making sure that everything is working properly, if you're not doing it, I'm sure the cleaners are not doing it. They're trying to get in one property out the other, do a good job for sure, but a lot of things go on. I mean, I really appreciate everything you've been sharing with us. If someone is interested in learning more about your education, your training, ETI Solutions, or your products, Drip and Go, how do they find you? Where do they find more information? Where should they go?
I mean, I'm all over LinkedIn, Sean Kemper, ETI Solutions. Our website is dropandgocleaningproducts.com, and that's just simple the word drop and then the letter N and then GO, dropandgocleaningproducts.com. But again, I'm all over the social platforms.
Well, that's awesome, man. And you're doing a great job of, helping us in this industry, being a voice of reason for all things, cleaning and products. So I really do appreciate, and again, I would love knowing that if I'm staying at a property, it does have your solutions and does have your products, because I feel like now knowing, what you do, what you provide, like it's a lot safer. I'd rather stay at a ETI, property with Drop and Go than I would bleach over here, with high pH levels. So I appreciate everything you do and educating the industry, and I hope to see you soon at the next conference.
Awesome. Alex, thanks a lot, man. Enjoyed our time.
Absolutely.